Hi guys, good morning. I just want to share some things with you all about this past event that I worked this weekend. I had a lot of people to ask about some things about how things came together. So this is what I did for this particular event, guys. I've been working events for years, and that's been my thing exclusively. I worked events. That's all I did for 10 years until COVID. When COVID shut me down, I had to learn new ways to work my business. So when I had this opportunity to work this event, this is the first event that I worked since COVID. So a lot of preparation went into this event. It's a really, really large event. So I did some things differently with this event. I've always, well, not always, in recent years, I decided to create these groups on Facebook so I can kind of keep things in order. And because I work so many events, it's always a challenge for me to remember how things are set up. So I take a picture of all my events and put them in the group. Then I go out there. Well, I also will put all the details about the event in the group, like the hours, how much it costs, if I pay for electricity, if I pay for the Wi-Fi service. Then I will go to my team because I work large events. So then I will go to my team to see who's interested in working the events with me. Well, and I also will say that I have space for 10 people. I'll do something like that. I always say 10 because I expect to get like half of them. I just say 10. And I try not to have too many in there at one time. So I had commitments from, I think, about 8 people to start. I put them all in the group and I set up a Zoom call so they can know what to expect from this event. And because this is an event that I pay for, I also bring all the products and I also do the setup and breakdown. The only thing I ask them to do is to bring their marketing material, their samples, the catalogs, and maybe a notebook to take notes. That's all I ask them to do. I don't ask them to take part in the setup and everything. They don't have to bring any products. And the reason why I decided to do this, because I've heard so many people say that they can't find events, they cannot afford events, they don't have enough products. So I thought, let me do this. And I consider them to be non-paid participants. That's what I call them. And the purpose of doing this, again, is because of the fact that they said what they are not able to do. And I make sure that I clear things up with them. Like, for example, the benefits of doing this. One, there are people out there who pay a lot of money for advertisement and booklets and things like that. And you're not, when you look through a book and you just see it and you may just flip the page and you don't think much of it. So I tell them when they go out to work events, it's a form of advertising, but you're doing it face to face and you can do demonstrations hands on, which is so different than having your name put out there in a booklet. And so in other words, it's so much more valuable to be out there face to face. So I had to paint the picture to them because sometimes people feel like if they're not personally selling something where they're getting money back, they don't quite understand the value of being there. So I had to first train them and teach them the value of just being there and all the work that go behind it to show, once I get that done, that makes a difference. So, okay. So this, once we talked about all of the things on the Zoom call. Once we got to the event, when they start coming in, for a very long time, I would take for granted that they knew certain things. So this time I treated them just like they were brand new consultants. And some of them were new, but not brand new. But what I did, I brought them in and I showed them how to complete the order form by putting their name on it. I told them to make sure they collect the sales tax. I also tell them to mark if it's cash or credit card, no checks to be received. And because I tear my order forms in twos, I tell them to take a picture of the top copy and leave the top copy and give the second copy to the customer. And that's one thing that I do. And after they get up there and they start talking to people, I'm now starting to observe how they communicate with people. Because we have so many people at the booth, this is the one thing I tell them as they greet people. I'll say this. I say, okay, have you heard of Scentsy? How you doing today? Has somebody approached you already? And I'm having to say that to them because we had situations where consultants were giving samples to the same customer. Same customer, one team member would give 2 samples to that person, and then the other person would get upset. So I'm starting now to say, look, make sure that you ask the person if anybody has already talked to them. And if they say no, then you hand them a sample. I even had situations where team members were just giving wax out because they thought it was okay when people say, well, can I have a sample from you too? And even though we work together, we're still independent, is what I had to teach them. So you have to work with them like that to tell them how to do things, because in the past, I just kind of would just give them basic things and just let them go on out there. But that's not what we need to do. We need to just kind of take baby steps with them because they really don't know. Something else I did that was different. I did a contest this time. In the group, I had in there, whoever sell the most, I'm going to give you a gift. The second person that sell the most, I'm going to give you a gift. Whoever recruit the first person, I'm going to give you a gift. That worked. This is really, really what took it over the top. I've never done this before. So it was a sweet competition. And it was so funny because they were saying, oh my gosh, this person is selling all the buddies. This person is selling all this. Okay. So let me tell you about the layout. The layout is so important. The way I have my booth is laid out in a way where it's kind of free to move about in there. So I always have the buddies and wagons. And now I'm having 2 wagons because I have a wagon for Disney and I have a wagon for regular buddies. So one of my team members decided to stand over there by the buddies because she knew that the kids, once they come over there, they want the buddies, the parents going to buy the buddies. So we sold close to 40 buddies in this 3-day event. And I can remember one of my team members was standing to the right of me, the other side of the booth, and I had Disney products set up in that particular area. And for almost 2 days, those Disney warmers were not moving. And I started to pack them up. I told one of my directors, I said, I'm going to pack that table up because nobody's buying from over there. Soon as I said that, my team member who was over there started talking about those warmers. And as soon as she started talking about them, she sold 3 of them. So all it made me think about is that people buy what you focus on. So if you focus on something in your booth, most likely that's what people are going to buy. So I started taking in my hand and holding the mini fan diffuser and talked about how I have it in my car. So I held it up each time and I showed it to them and they bought it every time when I held it up. So we sold a ton of these mini fan diffusers and I showed them the pod. And before I started doing this, people weren't buying it because it was sitting up there and people didn't know what it was. But so to make the most out of your event, guys, you got to find some things and focus on that. So when you focus on that, you're going to sell that. And this is what I told my team members. So at the end of that particular event, we sold over $6,000 in products in 3 days. We could have sold more if we had done that at the beginning of the event. It took us a minute to figure that thing out. But just like every event, it's a learning process, even for me, because at the beginning of my events, we made a lot of mistakes. Because in some cases, some of the events that I've worked, we actually pay equal amount for the event. For example, let's say the event is $2,000. And let's say there are 4 of us that's working the event. We divide that cost by 4. And we also determine how much product we're going to bring. We divide that by 4. That's a little bit more detail. That could be another video. But this particular training is with just when I bring my team members in and allow them to come out to train and network, book parties. Something else I'm doing that I've never done before. I am asking all my team members to have a VIP group. So once they get to the booth, once they get there and they have a customer, I'm telling them to make sure they add their customers to their VIP group. And then they can talk to them about parties in the future. And I'm also asking them to set up Amy so they can do the follow-up. One of my team members already got 2 new team members yesterday from the event. She has about 6 people who's saying that they want to join. 2 of them already joined yesterday. I have a host of people too that's saying that they're going to join. So the follow-up is everything. So I'm sitting right there with them and telling them to make sure that you copy and paste your VIP link in Messenger to them why they are there, because it's hard to find people on Facebook when they leave. So I try to get them to do it right then while they're there, message the person the link to the VIP page so they can talk about future things, thank them and everything right there in Messenger on the spot. And what I did, I offered them a discount. Said, look, I am going to give you a discount on your next purchase if you go ahead and sign into my VIP page. So I give them my phone, let them search themselves is what I do. And I send them a message and I send them a link to my VIP group. Boom. I got probably about 25 people added to my VIP group from doing this from this particular weekend. So this is how we max out everything that we do with this event. And we're having fun. Because even though we're there independently working, we're together working and we're helping one another. When we see one person overwhelmed, somebody's going to help bag, somebody's going to help label. And I also allow them to relabel the products. So whatever they sell, they get to relabel it. That's their customer. That is their customer. That is the incentive of being there. One of my team members said, well, do I get PRV for this? So she didn't understand. And see, she missed the Zoom call. So you may get questions like that. They may just not understand that part, but then you have to go and explain to them the benefit of being there. I wish I had the opportunity for somebody to let me come in and just gain the contacts and get to book parties and get people to join. My main goal for working events is to get the connections. That's my goal. And the reason why I set the bar high for sales is because I want them to have more contacts. Because if they sell more, that means they're going to have more customers. That's a way for them to get more information if they sell more. So that's the reason why we focus on the sale part, so they can gain more customers and more people who could possibly join their team and who could possibly book parties. And before, I used to not even talk about parties, guys, in the past at my events because I wasn't doing parties. But now I'm doing parties since COVID. I've changed. So we're focusing on it. You get what you focus on. I was focusing more on recruiting at my events, and that's what I was getting. I was getting a ton of people to join my team, sometimes right on the spot or a lot of times later. But my focus has changed because now I'm working more on grooming my team members so they can understand the benefit of being there, and it's working. And they're so excited and they cannot wait until the next event. They look forward to it. It's just so fun. They didn't even want to leave. They stayed there. I mean, they worked. We barely had potty breaks. We barely had lunch. We barely had a chance to get food. It was that kind of busy. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. So many of you had questions about how you max out these events. So these are the things that I've done to make the most of it. And then we're still learning. And I guess that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a happy Tuesday. Bye.